From Fort Worth, Texas, the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series gets ready to have their guns ablazing in the Lone Star State. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Independence Racing Network. Last week in Kansas, Mike Wright added to his win total on the season by capturing the checkered flag. Now this week, we're all buckled in and waiting to see if this race at Texas Motor Speedway turns into a shootout in the Old West. I'm Dave Regal, and I'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, on the Independence Racing Network. And qualifying underway here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Folks, glad to have you in with us as we are on week number 14 of the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series schedule. Taking a look at these drivers getting their qualifying laps turned here at Texas Motor Speedway. Of course, last night in the SNN family of races, they had the All-Star race here at Texas, which was apparently a banger of a performance. And looks like so far tonight, Carlos Ramos sits atop the pile with a 30.08 time. Emily Uria is rolling down a 30.44 as she finishes up her qualifying effort. John Bawaldo, your Tuesday Night Thunder Trucks Series commissioner in the number 51 trackbooking.com Chevrolet, lays down himself a 30.8, so kind of the opposite of Carlos Ramos there atop the pile. Steve Vrooman in the number 96 lays down a 30.19, so qualifying well underway here. And folks, a pretty big night in Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series history, as one of NASCAR's premier sponsors has reached out to us. And tonight, Monday Night NASCAR's Xfinity Series has some prize money on the line for this race, as the race winner will earn himself $125, him or herself, of course, will earn him or herself $125. Second place will earn $50, and third place $25. And of course, the usual prizes for pole sitter and race winner. So lots to talk about tonight, which is, rather exciting when you consider that, most of us do this as more of a hobby than anything. So to be able to come out here and, earn something for a change, something tangible like cold hard cash, especially from the fine folks over at Napa, is pretty exciting. And speaking of Napa, we do want to make sure that we tip our cap to them. So sit back and enjoy these messages from Napa Auto Parts.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Napa know-how. Napa
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have: breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today, and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air. And welcome back to the Independence Racing Network broadcast booth. Of course, glad to have you here with us tonight. Taking a look at Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series racing here on the Independence Racing Network, proudly brought to you by Northeastern Fire and Air and our partners over at Butt Kicker, RS Button Boxes, and tonight's special broadcast partner and sponsor of Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series racing, Napa Auto Parts. So always pretty exciting when we get to have those real-life sponsors join us over here in the sim racing world. Of course, one thing that we do want to talk about tonight is our points leaders, as things have really gotten a little bit heated. And as I talked about there in the opening segment, Mike Wright does sit atop that points pile. We'll take a look here as Mike Wright is sitting there atop the pile with Bobby Blazer 52 points behind him. Dakota Cave 91 points behind Blazer. Bob Nestor in fourth and John Bawalda in fifth. And also just an honorable mention is Chris Claude in sixth position, 9 points behind Bawalda. And one thing to note is that fourth, fifth, and sixth positions in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series point standings belong to the series commissioners, whether it's Cup with Chris Claude or Xfinity here with Bob Nestor or John Bawalda of the Tuesday Night Thunder Truck. So things definitely starting to heat up atop the pile there. Of course, Mike Wright having himself 4 wins definitely sets himself, in a different level of air. And, Bobby Blazer has 3 wins. Of course, there's a couple of other wins sprinkled throughout the series, and we'll get that for you right here. As, of course, James Ray, who has not run with us for several weeks, has a pair of wins. And then our single race winners will be Michael Overstreet driving the number 39 Toyota Supra, Aaron Mack, Joe Stafford, the pride of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Dylan Ackert. But, of course, Aaron Mack, Joe Stafford, and Dylan Ackert sitting pretty far back in the point standings. However, there's still plenty of season left as we're only at week number 14. And, we have such a long way to go in this series. Altogether we have 36 races. So we're still 4 races shy of that halfway point for the season. So definitely something that we can always be talking about, thinking about, and, looking forward to, especially as we head down that road. Last year's winner, of course, Donnie Gatton, not in the field this evening as he is no longer with the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, which, hey, listen, good luck to him. Glad that he found someplace else that he likes to be. But unfortunately, no longer with us over there. So qualifying has about 35 seconds left, and it looks like just about everybody, in fact, everybody, all 29 drivers have gone out to at least attempt their qualifying effort. And Zachary Vaughn in the number 91 Chevrolet, the only driver not to have actually logged a legal lap, as he must have been hitting the wall or something in his 2 laps out there on the track. So in just a moment here, we are going to see those qualifying results as iRacing ticks down with just about 1 second left in qualifying. And as we take a look at those qualifying results, we do have Mike Wright, your points leader, sitting atop the pile in P1. Bobby Blazer on the outside of row number 1. Trying to find these drivers out here. Here we are. Mike Wright not actually in his car yet. But anyway, your pole sitter is Mike Wright in the number 98 Blue Oval Ford Mustang. There he is. Bobby Blazer on the outside of row 1 in the number 90. Row 2 is made up of Jack Ritchie and Carlos Ramos in the number 97. Grant T. Thompson in the number 35 Toyota Supra, and Steve Vrooman in the number 96 Chevrolet make up row 3. Row 4, Matt White and Zach Osborne. Row 5, Doug Argabright and Eugenio Alonso. Brandon Minto and Jeff Carson make up row number 6. Row number 7, Bennett Allen and Emily Arias in the number 6 Swan Chevrolet. Row 8 is made up of Marty Roberts on the inside and Chris Claude in the number 10 Dasani Toyota Supra. Bob Nestor, your Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series commissioner, in the number 29 Relative Properties Toyota Supra, as always. And on the outside of row 9, Field Miller in the number 76. Looks like the Carolina Hurricanes Chevrolet. I could be completely wrong there. We'll find out later. R.P. Allen and Michael Overstreet make up row 10. Row 11, Aaron Mack and Alexander Gangler in his Cheerios John Andretti throwback paint scheme in the number 82 Toyota Supra. Row 12, Jackson Derby and John Bawalda. Row 13, Brad Gunn and Ian Humphreys. Corey Burkett and Matthew Helm make up row 14, and starting shotgun on the field in the number 91 HendrickCars.com Chevrolet, Zachary Vaughn. So 29 cars going to be taking the field tonight as we get all set for some exciting racing here in the Lone Star State, just about 35 minutes north of Cowboys Stadium and Arlington, Texas. Of course, Arlington more the big deal here when it comes to sports in this section of North Texas. Looks like we will have one more lap of pacing here, which I do appreciate. Lets me slow down. We'll talk for just a second here about your race info. Of course, tonight around this 1.5-mile speedway, right now outdoor air temperature 89 degrees, track temperature 92, so not that hot, but still not that cool either. As I know some people in practice were dealing with temperatures well over 100 degrees, so we'll see how those setups come together. But here in Fort Worth, especially with 167 laps of racing ahead of them, things are definitely going to be getting pretty heated here. And of course, in those 167 laps, we do have stage racing here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. As the pace car lights are out, we are getting ready to go green flag racing. That pace car from iRacing.com That iRacing.com pace car dives down pit road. These drivers are ready. Everybody ready to rock and roll tonight. Mike Wright has his finger on the button. The man in the stand, you see him right there, has the green flag in his hand. And we are about to go green flag racing. It's a shootout at the start-finish line at Texas Motor Speedway. Mike Wright and Bobby Blazer going at it early tonight, as it appears that there is only 1/10 of a second between the two of them. Then there's about a half second back to where it looks as though Jack Ritchie and Carlos Ramos are going to be going at it hammer and tongs here on lap number 2 of 100. I'm sorry about that, folks. A little bit of a hiccup here. 188. Which is rather interesting. I guess we're going to have to see how that shakes out, as I thought we were 167 laps this evening. And the number 96 of Steve Vrooman gets away from the number 35, the number 14 of Grant T. Thompson, and Mike White in the number 56 Toyota Supra. Of course, keep in mind, if you are watching that ticker at the top of your screen, Grant Thompson being scored as the 35, but his paint scheme, due to an instructional error from one of our commissioners here in the league, he's actually looks like it's the 14, but he's being scored as the 35. So we'll have that corrected next week for you, but unfortunately can't really do that as the software says, nope, we're staying the way we are. Eugenio Alonso right now up 2 positions, running in 8th position. Doug Argabright, who has had some pretty tough luck the last several weeks in Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series racing, running in 9th. And rounding out the top 10 so far, Brandon Minto, but being chased by Jeff Carson. And, I do want to take a moment and talk about Jeff, as without him, we would not have the awesome sponsorship opportunity that we have gotten from Napa Auto Parts, as we had talked about earlier. Like I said, the race winner tonight, he or she will be winning $125, followed by $50 for second place, and third place $25. So thanks to this man right here driving the number 9 Toyota Supra, Jeff Carson, sponsored by Napa Auto Parts, we are able to offer that awesome prize for these drivers tonight. And you know what? That paint scheme of his is looking awful good right there. So thank you, Jeff. And folks, want to welcome you in here. If you are watching us on YouTube.com, I'm Dave Regal here from the Independence Racing Network, and you are watching Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series Racing. We are the exclusive broadcaster of Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series Racing here on iRacing.com. And make sure that you're subscribing, turning on those bell notifications to the Independence Racing Network, and give us a shout in the live chat for your driver. As Leo Bonacasa is saying, let's go 23XI. Then Emily Arias, of course, cheering on herself in the number 6. Brendan Honeycutt is cheering on the number 39, as he has done the last several weeks. The number 39, of course, driven by Michael Overstreet, as he actually happens to be chasing down Emily Arias right now, as looks like Michael Overstreet going to be looking to the outside of Arias. What a good time to have checked in here. And it looks like Overstreet working the outside, taking his time, and this is going to be a race to watch all in of itself. As I know that Emily is a strong driver herself, it looks like Overstreet dropping down to the low side to get the run, but gets himself loose, able to hold on to it coming out of turn 2, as that is usually quite treacherous, especially on the low side. Being followed by Zach Osborne in the number 16 EOL Boys Toyota Supra. So it looks like we've got from 11th through 18th all Toyotas, and then from 19th through 22nd all Chevrolets. So a big knot from 11th all the way back to 18th of Toyotas. Something kind of interesting as far as I'm concerned. And of course, Austin Story said, what's up, Dave? What's up, Austin? Glad to have you with us tonight. Of course, Austin, one of our amazing Cup drivers on Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series. And we'll probably be checking in with him and Nicholas Breidenbach, Joseph Lester, and Nolan Hodgson later on this evening. As it's always nice when you get to see those Cup drivers checking in on the feeder series, of course, kind of NASCAR's version of the minor leagues, able to see the competition on its way up. And, I got to be honest with you folks, the racing in Monday Night NASCAR in the Xfinity Series is, bar none, some of the best that you're going to see on the iRacing servers. Aside from those long-standing leagues that have been around for some of them over a decade. Here Monday Night NASCAR, we run with very few cautions. Of course, I probably just jinxed it. So, folks, if we suddenly have a caution fest, you're more than welcome to send your hate mail to the Independence Racing Network studios in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, care of Dave Regal, as I may have just put the broadcaster's curse on tonight's race. But, generally really good racing side by side. These drivers spend a lot of time working on their craft as far as thanks, Brendan Honeycutt. I see him chasing down or keeping an eye on Michael Overstreet, as he was able to get around Emily Arias. But, these drivers spend a lot of time working on these setups and, not only that, but perfecting this car. here we are at the end of what would be the normal iRacing schedule. So these drivers have had plenty of time to practice in the public servers. Wow! Looks like the 56 and the 96 wanted to do a little bit of dancing here. Maybe some country line dancing in the Lone Star State. But right now, Mike Wright opening up about a half second over Bobby Blazers. We are under caution. It looks like Eugenio Alonso has gotten it all wrong. We're going to take a look here. And we see Eugenio Alonso. We're going to quick change camera positions because that just turned into a mess. We see him coming out of turn 4, crossing the start-finish line. And the engine just blows, so obviously that outdoor air temperature having an effect on these drivers tonight. So if you are a driver and you are watching the broadcast, maybe it's time for you to take a look there and reconsider that tape configuration on the front of that piece. So our first caution of the night brought out by Eugenio Alonso's car, of course, blowing that engine on the backstretch. And, you know, one of the cool things that I've always liked about Texas Motor Speedway is this caution light system. As, you know, it just looks cool. I mean, they say everything's bigger in Texas. Well, I got to say, everything looks cooler in Texas, too. It's just a really neat look. Leo Bonacasa, I will be more than glad to read that as if I am a hockey announcer calling out Bobby Blazer's name in the YouTube live chat. But I need your permission before I do the hockey thing first. Because if you're watching us in the YouTube live chat, Leo Bonacasa is cheering on Bobby Blazer, and it just looks like a lot of fun to read as an announcer. So anyway, as we are moving toward lap number 40, for the end of stage 1, lap number 40. Mike Wright, Bobby Blazer, Jack Ritchie, Matt White, Steve Vrooman, Carlos Ramos, Doug Argabright, Brandon Minto, Jeff Carson, and R.P. Allen round out your top 10. And these drivers so far tonight running a pretty simple race. And, you know, you don't want to overcomplicate, especially here at Texas. It looks like you know what, I'm not sure if this is just kind of an optical illusion. We're going to take a little closer of a look here at Jeff Carson's Napa Auto Parts machine, as it looks like he may have gotten a little scrape here. Nope, that's an optical illusion, part of the paint scheme. Fair enough. All right, for Leo Bonacasa, he is cheering on the number 90 Blue Oval 4 by Bobby Blazer. God, you know what? That's fantastic. That was a lot of fun. So, folks, if you have some kind of weird thing with public address announcers, I'll read that out too. But right now, taking a look at Bobby Blazer in the number 90 Ford Mustang. One thing to take a look at is he is 52 points behind Mike Wright, and tonight it appears that he is running right behind Mike Wright. So, you know, not only do the point standings sit there and give us something to watch, but now they're going to be duking it out on the racetrack, and they have been doing that every week this year so far. As these drivers, you know, even with 17 laps in, you know, they've been duking it out week after week. So if you're just tuning in this week here at Texas, come every week. You know, come early, come often, and make sure that you are here for the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action here on the Independence Racing Network. So as the iRacing.com pace car crosses the start-finish line on lap number 18 of 188. Oh, and it looks like it's now fixed. Nope, it is not. 188. Those pace car lights are out, which means that we will be going back green flag racing this time by, with nobody coming down for pit service in your top 20. But it looks like Bob Nestor, Bennett Allen, Zachary Vaughn, John Bawalda, Alexander Gangler all coming down for pit service on lap number 15. Of course, if I know a couple of those drivers, and I do very well, I'm sure that they were down there making some adjustments. As you know, this is the kind of racetrack where, as you're watching, you know, other drivers out there blowing up their engines, you better get down and change that tape configuration, especially this early on in a race. Pace car dives down pit road. Mike Wright has control of the field. He's holding them. He's waiting. The engines roar, and we take off green flag racing again as Mike Wright gets himself one heck of a jump over Bobby Blazer and leads the field down into turn number 1. He rotates through that corner ever so gently, gets the front of that car to move along with the asphalt here. And a three-way battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th place has broken out as we are now 3 wide going into turn number 3. This isn't going to be good, as it looks like the 97 gets shoved up the racetrack by the 41. We stay green flag racing, as it looks like he will keep it moving as best as he can. We're going to look back here at Carlos Ramos, who's now trying to get himself back up to pace, as that definitely took some of the stuffing out of his bear. And now he gets himself settled in front of the 25 car, that Valvoline Toyota Supra driven by Matthew Helm. We have Chris Claude working the outside of what looks to be Bob Nestor here. And, you know, I got to be honest, that can't be real comfortable, especially this early on in the race when there is such hard racing going on. But, I mean, let's be honest, folks. That's good, clean, fun racing. I mean, these drivers out here are having a blast, especially with just 21 laps in. That keeps you entertained and excited all throughout the race because, you know, there are times where these races get all single-filed out, a little boring for just about everybody. And, you know, it's always nice when we're side by side for so long in the race. You know, of course, as a driver, that can be incredibly stressful. But as a viewer, as an observer, as a broadcaster, it's exciting. We see the 34 of Jackson Derby working his way around Jeff Carson in the number 9 Napa. I keep trying to say Napa Chevrolet. I was just busting Jeff Carson's stones about the Napa logo belonging on a Chevrolet and not a Toyota Supra. But, you know, it's a simulation, so I guess you can kind of do whatever you want there. And looking in our YouTube.com live chat, I do agree with you, Brendan Honeycutt. Of course, the extra cash pool definitely adds some extra incentive for the week. And, you know, listen, you'd be a fool if you weren't out there laying it down for an extra $125 to be in your pocket. And, you know, we can see that right now with Jeff Carson driving the namesake of the sponsor here, Napa Auto Parts. As, you know, Jeff usually hanging around that top 10 region, but I think we're going to see him, you know, keep himself in that neighborhood as long as all things are equal. And when we move a little bit deeper into the race, we're going to start to see him pick off a position here, a position there, maybe change the pit strategy a little bit, as, you know, just as Brendan just said, hey, things are going to get kind of hairy, especially with $125 purse money for that P1 win at the end of the race. no, the 97 noses into the wall. We are going to be under caution if, there it goes, there's the caution flag. Let's take a look. Talk about pure dumb luck. I couldn't have asked for that one any worse. And we're going to take a look here at the 96 by Steve Vrooman, working the outside of the 03, driven by R.P. Allen, of course, the brother of Bennett Allen. Another fantastic driver here in the series. We see him come out of turn 2 and just rub the wall. And, you know, I definitely can't say ever so gently, as he really rocketed himself on the outside as he just swung that car and all of its momentum into the outside wall out of 2, which, you know, one of the toughest things about Texas Motor Speedway is the fact that, you know, hey! Sorry about that graphical problem, folks. Of course, my Stream Deck's set up for something completely different for the rest of the week, but here tonight we're on Monday Night NASCAR. Anyway, Austin, I appreciate that very much. Thank you, sir. Make sure that you are subscribing, turning on those bell notifications. Give us a thumbs up there in the youtube.com live stream, as that does help everybody find your friends and family. Last night, I know the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series was one of the most watched series on YouTube for the folks over at Sim Racing Media. Of course, my other broadcasting job here on the iRacing.com servers. And if you do like hanging out with me on a Monday night, make sure to tune in tomorrow night at 10:15 Eastern to watch the Western States Racing League. Of course, myself and my good friend Tony Trapasso will be over there calling that, filling in for our friend Mike DeMoney, who has another commitment tomorrow night, so you can come hang out with us. Of course, I am glad to see so many of you active in the youtube.com live stream and live chat. And, you know, this race so far tonight has been pretty exciting. I mean, you know, especially when you're starting to see so many of these, you know, intermediate tracks where single file racing is the name of the game and picking off one position at a time. There has really not been a whole lot of real estate available in this piece tonight at Fort Worth, Texas. And Mike Wright still sitting atop the pile in the number 98, with Bobby Blazer just behind him, Matt White in the number 56. You know, we ran into this a couple of weeks ago when Mike Wright and Matt White were running side by side. That got pretty dicey for me, as, you know, after a while I couldn't do it. You know, I couldn't do it with their names next to one another. Then R.P. Allen up 14 positions now, and let's take a close look at him. As, you know, again, one of these drivers that we don't see a whole lot of, but always in it here in the 03 Interstate Batteries Toyota Supra. And, you know, I've always kind of, although I've never been a Joe Gibbs Racing fan in real life, I got to be honest, the Interstate Batteries car always stuck out to me. It kind of looks a little like a cross between Mountain Dew and, well, obviously Interstate Batteries, but it just looks cool. You know, these drivers a lot of times will go to a paint shop in the iRacing.com community and have somebody else do it. Other times you can go on to Trading Paints and you can rip off somebody else's paint scheme, or you can just do it yourself. And so many of these drivers, R.P. Allen, you know, one of them, very talented. Of course, taking a look at the number 55 of Marty Roberts Jr., that Twisted Tea machine. And again, if you're going to paint a race car, you might as well make it pop. Or, you know, if you want to at least get noticed. If you want to look tough, you paint it black. And, you know, something I didn't get to look at, and I want to try to take a look here. Fred Miller in the number 76. since we're talking paint schemes, yeah, that is a Carolina Hurricanes paint scheme, as I couldn't tell earlier exactly what it was, but hey, if you like hockey, check out those Canes. As listen, hockey season playoffs are upon us, and although I personally am a baseball guy, hockey is always the most exciting when it comes to contact sports, especially contact arena sports. I've always found it interesting that hockey, being, in my opinion, one of the most violent sports on earth, was like the last sport to get helmets as mandated. I mean, baseball, you're not really trying to bean people. I mean, plugging a player with the ball to get them out was basically outlawed in the late 1800s, early 1900s, when we entered the live ball era. But, in hockey, you're being checked into glass and boards and humans, and all of a sudden they were like, yeah, listen, you really need to wear helmets. And the players fought against it. So kind of an interesting sport if you think about it, especially from a safety standpoint. But here we are getting ready to go. Green flag racing again. Mike Wright takes off. Green flag waves. And we are back underway on lap number 31 of 188 at Texas Motor Speedway. And here we go again, just like I was saying during the caution laps. Looks like Matt White and Mike Wright going to be going at it hammer and tongs pretty shortly. But Bobby Blazer sitting between the two of them, keeping this broadcaster's tongue just inside my skull. As we come out of turn 4, Mike Wright leads Bobby Blazer and Matt White as they get single file and get ready to chase one another through the tri-oval and into turn 1 and 2. Right now, Jack Ritchie looking to the inside, securing away the 6th position from Brandon Minto. Minto in the get upside, number 12 Chevrolet, getting just ahead of Jeff Carson, running in 7th position right now. Jeff, of course, up 5 spots from where he had started. And right now, the biggest mover in the race is R.P. Allen, running right now in 4th position, having started in 19th. And Michael Overstreet also hungry for some positions, as he is now chasing down Jeff Carson in his number 39 Toyota Supra for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. Of course, that is a near and dear cause to Michael Overstreet. We've talked about that before here on the air. And just glad to have him out there supporting cystic fibrosis, as I had grown up with actually a brother and a sister, not my own, but I mean friends of mine growing up. They were brother and sister who had cystic fibrosis, have it, and, have been dealing with it their entire lives. And just such a terrible disease, especially that affects children. And Leo Bonacasa in our YouTube live chat, making sure that you do know that Money House Graphics is available for all of your paint scheme needs. So make sure that you're heading over there, as Leo Bonacasa getting them a shout out from the YouTube live chat. Right now, Bobby Blazer telling Matt White to stay back there. These two drivers probably could be working together to catch Mike Wright, who has now opened up about 3/4 of a second lead over Bobby Blazer and Matt White. But Bobby Blazer at this point just trying to tell Matt White to stay back there, and maybe they can get up eventually to Mike Wright. But wow, what a run that Matt White gets on Blazer coming out of turn 4 into the tri-oval. They cross the start-finish line. Wright, Blazer, White, 1, 2, 3 here at Texas Motor Speedway. .36 laps in of 188. Wow! Blazer sinks down just in front of the number 56, driven by Matt White. These two going at it hammer and tongs here, folks. I think we're eventually going to see someone get frustrated and a temper or two flare here, as we are now in the closing laps of stage number 1. We are double file way back here in the field in about 13th position, with Matthew Helm in the number 25 Valvoline Toyota Supra, just in the middle of what appears to be a complete nightmare of cars. As you can see, the 25 now chasing down the 38 of Doug Argerbright. Argerbright having one of the best runs of his season so far here in the Xfinity Series. And it looks like the 25 and the 3 going to be side by side. Of course, when I say the 3 car, I am talking about Bennett Allen, of course, brother of RP Allen in the 03. So we have the 3 in the 03. And Bennett Allen driving the Prime Hydration Chevrolet here, running right now in 14th position, down just one spot. But don't look now. Our biggest mover of the race just became Matthew Helm in the number 25 Valvoline machine, as he is now up 16 positions, running in 12th place right now. So obviously, as we are getting closer to the end of stage number 1, looks like he may not have enough to get any stage points out of this run, but at least get himself set up for stage number 2. Of course, once that 10th place car finishes lap number 40, as Mike Wright going to lead us back to the green and white checkered flag here to end stage 1. He is on lap number 40. So we're going to see him work his way around, followed by Bobby Blazer and Matt White, Jack Ritchie, Brandon Minto, Jeff Carson, Michael Overstreet, RP Allen, Zach Osborne, and Aaron Mack in the number 31. Of course, on the bubble here is Carlos Ramos in the number 97 machine. Ramos has been out here battling week in and week out. And as I look through my notes here, I do see that Adrenaline Spike Designs number 97 machine also having one of his best runs of the season, as he is now working around the number 31. I don't think that he got that 10th position just as the stage ended here, as we now turn to lap number 41 of 188 at Texas Motor Speedway. However, Mike Wright getting yet another stage win here and 10 bonus points on the season, followed by Bobby Blazer, Matt White, Jack Ritchie, Jeff Carson, Michael Overstreet, RP Allen in the 03 Interstate Batteries Toyota Supra. Zach Osborne and Aaron Mack round out your top 10, who will be awarded bonus points here in the Xfinity Series point standings. So as these drivers get ready to go down to pit road, we are going to step aside and pay some bills.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know how.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have: breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today, and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air. And folks, welcome back inside the Independence Racing Network broadcast booth. I'm Dave Regal here, as we have just completed stage number 1 of the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series race here at Texas Motor Speedway. Of course, next stage going to be ending at lap number 80. And once that 10th place car crosses onto lap 81, we'll freeze the field again and get reset. But we're going to lap 188 tonight. So still way too many laps to go here to even be thinking about the checkered flag. So, right now, as we get reset, looks like Mike Wright and Matt White going to be on the front row. Bobby Blazer, Brandon Minto, Jeff Carson, Jack Ritchie, Michael Overstreet, Grant T. Thompson in the number 35 Toyota Supra being scored as the number 35, but actually the number 14. In fact, folks, let's pull that up just so that you know what you're looking for, the same as I do. And Zach Osborne and R.P. Allen going to be rounding out your top 10 here at Texas Motor Speedway. So glad to have you with us tonight as, you know, the race starting to heat up pretty well here. And, you know, it seems like for so many of these races, we're preheating an oven for half the race, you know, and it's going real slow. And then all of a sudden, the last 50 laps, it turns into a complete battle. It's like everybody went to see a car show and a race broke out. Glad to have you all with us in the YouTube.com live chat. Please make sure that you're giving us a thumbs up, liking that, subscribing to the Independence Racing Network, turning on those bell notifications, and that way you can be reminded every time we go live on YouTube.com. Of course, several of you tonight in the live chat, glad to have you with us, as it looks like Nathan Rose cheering on Michael Overstreet, the official Depend. Ladies and gentlemen, hope all is good. And Aaron Mack right now, since you asked, is running in 11th position, so that number 31, and is that Purolator? It is. It looks like he has a Purolator, kind of a throwback scheme almost. I did always like the Purolator logo. Of course, red, white, and blue, patriotic, one of my favorites. Love it. But right now, taking a look up here, that iRacing.com pace car has its lights turned off, which means it will be going back green flag racing any moment now. And by any moment, I mean once he dives down pit road, but we've still got a little ways to go on this pace lap. The iRacing.com pace car dives down pit road. Mike Wright getting ready to lead his field back to the start-finish line as he and Bobby Blazer and Matt White getting ready to do battle for stage number 2 in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series here on the Independence Racing Network. And Mike Wright diving down into turn 1, wasting absolutely no time getting himself underway. And Mike White and Bobby Blazer now duking it out for that oh-so-precious second position. We can see them not necessarily single file at that point, but now getting all along this white line here at the bottom of the racetrack. And we can see that we're single file for about 7 cars right up until we get back to 8th position, where Zach Osborne and the number 16 EOL Boys machine is getting here on the high side of R.P. Allen, and it looks like they will make the pass and shuffle themselves into position. We look back here at Grant Thompson, who ran one of the fastest times I had seen in practice, now side by side with the 31, and we start to see him sliding back. The 31, of course, of Aaron Mack, who was just being cheered on by the official Dependa and the Dependa Enda, and now the 97 working his way around Grant Thompson. So maybe there's a little strategy here in stage number 2. Whoa! It's Jeff Carson now sliding pretty far back. We're going to keep an eye on him as he suddenly has just started driving what seems like in reverse, as he is dropping position after position. So many of these drivers may have been racing hard during stage number 1, made those adjustments so that they know exactly how the car is going to finish out in stage 3, and now get themselves settled in for a nice calm stage number 2, at least as these cars start to come in and the race wears on and on. Mike Wright atop the pile here with about 0.6 of a second, maybe half a second over Bobby Blazer, Matt White, and Jack Ritchie, as these 3 drivers have a battle going on for third place at this point. And it appears that the number 9 car of Jeff Carson has found himself in some heavy traffic again. And, you know, in racing, this is probably one of the neatest views you get as you see these drivers in almost like a diamond pattern, as if they're fighter pilots or Top Gun, you know, trainees. Just as a side note here, Grant Thompson driving the number 35, or actually driving the number 14, Grant Thompson Racing paint scheme here on his Toyota Supra, is actually racing the same paint scheme as his real-life late model, which was painted, or I'm sorry, by his late model, which was painted by Austin Story. Of course, Austin Story, my opinion, one of the most talented drivers that I've seen in a long time in the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series, of course, airing in prime time every Sunday night over on ESPN and Sim Racing Media. ESPN, of course, on YouTube.com, and Sim Racing Media over on Facebook. And you can always feel free to check them out, as they've got a long schedule. Of course, this week, my personal schedule in the sim racing world is kind of light. So if you do like hanging out with me here on Monday night, check me out on Tuesday night over on Western States Racing League's broadcast at 10:15 p.m. over on ESPN. Of course, I'll be alongside my good friend Tony Trapasso, as we have turned into quite the partners in crime. And I got to say, if you're going to watch a race, you might as well watch it with a good buddy. And speaking of good buddies, I don't know if there's too many friendships being formed here between the 51, the 38, and the 76, as these three drivers have formed themselves a knot right here in the middle of the field, battling it out for 18th, 19th, and 20th positions. And just behind them, yet another battle getting ready to start raging. Mike Wright leads the field with Bobby Blazer, Jack Ritchie, Matt White in tow behind him in this first 4-car pile. And that little draft going on, but R.P. Allen taking his time, logging some laps, running in 5th position. Brandon Minto, Zach Osborne, Michael Overstreet, and Bennett Allen rounding out the next group of drivers here, all the way back through 9th position. Bob Nestor, your Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series commissioner, from Lansdale, Pennsylvania, running right now in 10th position, up 7 from where he had begun. Of course, Jeff Carson running in 9th position, running the number 9 car in 13th position right now, down 1, as it looks like maybe he has gotten that car back under him, as he had dropped so far back in positions. Right now, your big mover tonight is Matthew Helm in the number 25 Valvoline Toyota Supra. And something that I'm not used to seeing is him so far back like that. But, of course, you know, one thing after another will bring that out. I do see something may have happened here with Carlos Ramos. We're going to take a look. Taking a look here at Carlos Ramos, almost looks like he may have blown an engine or something akin thereof. Yep, and I just saw that puff of smoke. And we're going to see that just as he crosses the start-finish line. And there's the end of that engine. Ramos, of course, able to get it down and off the racing surface, going to have that 31-minute repair. So we'll see if he decides to put it on the hauler or get that repair done, as we have now logged 59 of 188 laps here at Texas Motor Speedway. Of course, Texas Motor Speedway in literally the heart of the country. And, you know, Fort Worth itself being not too far from Dallas, Texas, of course, one of the bigger cities there in the Lone Star State. Of course, Texas itself, as most of us should know, at least my opinion should know, used to be its own country. So the Republic of Texas was originally, where it is now. Of course, in December of 1845, it was admitted to the Union, with Austin being its capital, but Houston being the largest city. And, of course, the largest metro and urban area would be the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is where we are tonight with the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. And I'll tell you what, I can't imagine the amount of people that congregate here at Texas Motor Speedway. As you can fit, one of the graphics that I had seen over the weekend is that you can fit 4 of the largest football stadiums in Texas inside of this one racetrack. So very impressive. Of course, one of those being the home of the Dallas Cowboys down there in Arlington, Texas. So, and of course, one of them being the former home of the Dallas Cowboys, the Cotton Bowl, being one of the other stadiums that I had seen in that graphic. So just an interesting graphic as you think about the sheer size of this racetrack. As, to be completely honest, these views here that you see do not do this track justice, as we can see just what looks like a small town here on the inside of the racetrack itself. So, with campers and RVs and all kinds of other things, I mean, it's a huge space, and of course, our camera angles and the digital renderings of what Texas Motor Speedway is just do not do it justice. .64 laps of 188 in. We are working our way toward lap number 80 in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action here on the Independence Racing Network. Had to just take a few moments to take a breather as I'm working all alone here in the broadcast booth. Not that I'm complaining. I'm just, hey, sometimes you start to run out of breath. So by the time we get to the end here, we will have logged 282 miles around Texas Motor Speedway. Mike Wright sits atop the pile, now starting to lap these cars left and right as he is working his way around Ian Humphreys yet again. And Bobby Blazer in second position. Jack Ritchie in third. Will turn on some information about these drivers, as, of course, we don't really get to hear from them too often. Jack Ritchie from Concord, and I'm assuming that's Concord, North Carolina. Matt White from Stewartsville, Minnesota. And Brandon Minto from Norman, Oklahoma, the pride of Norman, Oklahoma, and the number 12 Chevrolet. R.P. Allen in the 03 Interstate Batteries Toyota Supra. Bennett Allen, the Allen brothers, now running in 6th and 7th position. Michael Overstreet from Salisbury, North Carolina in 8th. Zach Osborne from Claremont in 9th position. And Aaron Mack rounding out your top 10 from Fort Riley, Kansas. Of course, Kansas being the site of last week's Monday Night NASCAR battle. And the drivers did not disappoint whatsoever last week, as we had one heck of a fight all throughout that race. And right now, we are going to step aside and let you folks at home turn it up and enjoy the sounds of this amazing race. 73 of 188 laps in so far tonight at Texas Motor Speedway. Of course, your race leader here in Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, Mike Wright, in the number 98 Blue Oval Ford Mustang, chasing down yet another driver that he is planning on having for lunch, as Corey Burkett now trying to hold him off in the EOL Boys number 13 Ford Mustang, as he is going to gracefully get out of the way of Mike Wright, who puts him a lap down here on lap number 74. Of course, you know, one of the things to keep in mind is that as we're getting closer and closer to lap number 80, when we have that competition caution at the end of stage number 2, we should start to see Mike Wright, or I'm sorry, not Mike Wright, but Corey Burkett there in the number 13 hold on tight, as he doesn't want to go any further down than he has to. And there's a lot of distance between Grant Thompson and Mike Wright, so we should not see too much more happen there in the way of laps down for Grant Thompson. Taking a look here at the battle for third, as it appears that we're going to start seeing Jack Ritchie and Bobby Blazer going at it, as Jack Ritchie in the 41 setting himself up here just behind Blazer, working the low side against that bottom line. And got to be honest, if you can get the run, you can maybe at least force that driver up, you know, get him tight, get him up there toward the high side, and make some progress. Right now, the 55 of Marty Roberts Jr. chasing down Bob Nestor. And Nestor not really too concerned with it, as he's running in 12th position right now, and, you know, sits where he does on the point standings in 4th. He's not really worried about losing. Wow! Nestor gets just a little loose there coming out of turn 4, as we're going to start to see some of these drivers who may or may not have taken tires in their last pit stop. In fact, we're going to take a look here and see where if Nestor did, and he did take what appears to have been 4 tires in that pit stop. Of course, tonight the pit crews are laying 4 and have 1 set on, so 5 total sets of tires for these drivers, as Marty Roberts works the inside of Nestor, and just as I had said, gets him high and tight. And now Nestor getting a run down the front stretch, tries to re-secure 12th position from Roberts, as these two drivers now going at it pretty tight as we are in the closing laps of stage number 2. And we see Roberts here now securing the position away from Nestor, holding him back, as Roberts now puts Jeff Carson in his sights. But with 79 laps in, as we're working toward lap 80, I don't think we're going to see too much of that change here in the closing laps of stage number 2. Of course, as we run right now, Mike Wright, Bobby Blazer, Jack Ritchie, and Matt White, with Brandon Minto rounding out your top 5. These drivers here working their tails off tonight. And folks, if you are just tuning in, make sure that you're subscribing and turning on those bell notifications. The official Dependa, I do agree with you. It is a beautiful night for racing. Nice and clear, not too much glare from the sun. And, you know, just a good day surface. So, absolutely. And we are on lap number 80. So once Zach Osborne, running in 10th position, crosses the start-finish line, that will be the end of stage number 2. Mike Wright coming through the tri-oval now, crossing the start-finish line, captures the green and white checkered flag. We'll wait for Zach Osborne to get there, as he is leading Jeff Carson. Jeff Carson still wants that extra bonus point, but it's not looking like he's going to get it here at the end of stage 2. And as Zach Osborne crosses, race control Tony Burt hits the yellow flag button, and we are under competition caution here at Texas Motor Speedway.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have: breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today, and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air. And fans, welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway. I'm Dave Regal here at the microphone with the Independence Racing Network, bringing you all of the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action, as we are the exclusive broadcaster of Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action here. Of course, MNN is part of the Sunday Night NASCAR family of racing. Cup racing over on ESPN and at Sim Racing Media on a Sunday night. If you want to hang out with Joseph Lester and Josh Coppernoll, you can always check them out in prime time on a Sunday night over on ESPN and Sim Racing Media. Of course, here on Monday nights, we have Xfinity Series racing action. Then on Tuesday nights, over on the Performance Motor Network, the Tuesday Night Thunder Trucks, of course, commissioned by the number 51 driver, John Bawalda III, right here, as we can see him here on these pace laps. You can check them out at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night. So Tuesday Night Thunder Trucks, Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, and Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series, all part of one big family. And when I say family, I mean, you got to remember, some of these drivers are out here 3 nights a week. I mean, you know, drivers like John Bawalda and Bob Nestor and Chris Claude, as these drivers, you know, also the commissioners, leading by example, making sure that they're putting the time in and dedicating a lot of time to this industry. And, you know, so a lot of these drivers spend a lot of time together during the week. And it's almost like, you know, being with relative strangers, as many of us don't know each other in the real world. We only know each other here in the sim racing world, which is kind of unique because you get to know so many good people. And, you know, just to name a few of those good people, speaking of Joseph Lester, you know, used to be a driver here in the SNN family of racing series, but of course now driving in another league and also broadcasting Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series action. Then, you know, we also have drivers like Austin Story and Nicholas Breidenbach, Nolan Hodgson, Josh Ward, Leo Bonacasa. You know, these drivers make up some of the nucleus that is the best racing on the iRacing.com servers. I mean, you know, you get to know each other on a personal level. You know, you can go out there, bump, bang, and scream at one another, you know, one night, and the next night be sitting around having a little pit party. And as we get ready to go back green, I'm going to check in and see if we can talk to some of them. So we are back green flag racing here at the beginning of stage number 3, and at some point here during stage 3, we will be checking in with those Sunday Night NASCAR drivers and a special appearance by their broadcaster, Joseph Lester. But right now, got to take a minute here to peek in on Mike Wright, who has quite a battle on his hands here. And as they got that all sorted out, at this point, there is only one other driver who's side by side right now, and that is R.P. Allen working the inside of Brandon Minto. And he gets around Brandon Minto and sets sail with Jack Ritchie in his crosshairs. So lots of exciting racing here tonight. Right now, looking at Marty Roberts and now Bob Nestor in the number 29. Right now, it looks like the 16 is going to be 3 wide here of Zach Osborne as he comes down just a little bit too close to Nestor. Things getting kind of hairy as it appears the 16 has some connection issues, gets himself down to the apron. I hope he stays down there, and I hope race control is paying attention to that one because that can be awful scary. When you're 3 wide and you're the meat and you're having connection issues, that's definitely not where you want to be, as it looks like Zach Osborne continued to have some connection issues. And folks, down here on pit road, actually on the infield, on top of the Josh Ward trailer, it kind of looks like the Eagle 5 from Spaceballs. I'm pretty sure that Barf drove us here. Is Josh Ward, one of the voices of Tuesday Night Thunder Trucks, and Joseph Lester, the voice and producer of Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series over on ESPN and Sim Racing Media. Austin Story, Nick Breidenbach. I mean, hey, the gang's all here. What's up, fellas?
Yeah. What's going on?
What's up, my brother in Christ?
So some pretty good racing that we see tonight, as Bobby Blazer now is working side by side with Mike Wright to take the lead away. What do you see here, guys?
I see my man Bobby Blazer up there blazing the trail.
Yeah, Bobby's blazing them suckers.
I see R.P. Allen about to come and ruin somebody's party. He's trying to get in the mix over here. I don't know how long he's been doing it, but he's running good right now.
Yeah, Bobby Blazer's quick though. It's going to be a tough pass. He's letting it hang on him.
I say it
Allen
every
is up.
Tuesday.
Oh, he's always hanging it out.
Everything is hotter when the sun goes down, and we probably about to have it. Yeah.
Hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Well, I'll tell you what. Speaking of track temperatures, can one of you guys look up what track temperature currently is? Because I'll tell you
92
what,
degrees.
92. So that's actually the same as it was when we started. That's kind of strange. R.P. Allen up 15 positions from where he started. I mean, it's almost like he put a snowplow on the front of that Toyota and drove all the way to the front.
Oh, he's got a plow in the front of that thing, all right.
Well, I'll tell you this. I think Bennett Allen actually might have just started a snow plowing. We went and gave him a bunch more rates, so like he probably does have a snowplow right now. I might need to go check in with him, make sure he ain't in the track. But
Oh, he's coming right now. He's coming.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
thought we
I
did
mean,
something good.
I mean, listen, Bennett Allen and R.P. Allen, both very talented tonight. So, guys, what are we drinking?
Oh, you know, it might be 92 on the track, but it's 32 degrees in the cooler full of Busch Light, Dave.
Busch
Yeah,
Light-
we got
listen,
Busch tonight.
I am going to send you guys some of Pottsville, Pennsylvania's finest brew. It's called Yingling. I know it's not spelled that way, but it is, and that's
Yes,
the way that it is.
sir. Ying is king.
Yes, sir.
I'll be over here with my water.
Water. I'm very
No one's
sorry for
drinking
your
out
luck,
of it.
sir.
I got
I'm
sun drop.
not old enough yet.
All right, that's
That's
fair.
sun drop.
Listen,
I got
sun
Dr.
drop.
Pepper Dark Berry from Albertsons.
You ain't about to
Ooh.
disrespect no sun drop in here, Dave. We can't be having that now.
No. I don't even want to. No, but we are under caution. Something happened. Hold on. Why is something happening?
Oh,
Of course, SDK is not going to tell me. Guys, listen, I'm going to go back and start searching through SDK and see what's going on. Appreciate your time. Glad to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Woo!
Hey.
Woo!
Go.
Well, folks, that was the Sunday Night NASCAR. That is the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series infield pit party, and always glad to hang out with those gentlemen as they keep it classy or at least as classy gets when Busch Light is introduced into the situation. Right now, a yellow flag is out on the track, and I do see that Zachary Vaughn has gone down to the pits. We're going to take a look back and see if maybe that he had something to do with this. Oh, I'll say he did. Take a look at this, folks. As we're going to watch Zachary Vaughn here. Got to get that right camera angle up. Here in the number 91, right in the middle of your screen. He just gets it loose alongside the 25. As, my goodness, I don't even want to ascribe any fault to that because Lord only knows I would probably call it wrong. But now the 91 getting himself down pit road. Fortunately able to get there under his own power, not having to tow. So hopefully the damage not too terrible as he gets himself righted. So 97 laps complete with your race leader, Bobby Blazer, sitting atop the pile, followed by Mike Wright, Jack Ritchie, R.P. Allen, Brandon Minto in the number 12 Chevrolet, Matt White, Bennett Allen, Michael Overstreet, Jeff Carson, and Marty Roberts round out your top 10. Marty Roberts, of course, in the number 55 Twisted Tea Toyota Supra. I'm pretty sure that down there they don't just have Busch Light, they also have some Twisted Tea. And you know, I got to be honest, on a nice hot night, a beer tastes good, but Twisted Tea in the sun, that's pretty tasty too. So glad to have you folks with us. We are going to be side by side now and pay some bills here on the Independence Racing Network.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know how.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
And welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway here in the YouTube.com live chat. Looks like the official Dependa says that Pottsville, PA is close to home. And question, where, Mr. Official Dependa, would Pottsville, or how close is home to Pottsville for you? Where are you from here in PA, if you are indeed from Pennsylvania? Right now, Bobby Blazer sitting atop the pile. Mike Wright, Jack Ritchie, R.P. Allen, Brandon Minto, Matt White, Bennett Allen, Michael Overstreet, Jeff Carson, and Marty Roberts rounding out that top 10. Nobody coming down for pit road services. They were just down on lap number 82, except for here on lap number 96, Aaron Mack, Jackson Derby, Bob Nestor, and Zach Osborne all coming down pit road. Zachary Vaughn, of course, involved in what brought out the caution here, still down on pit road, and he has now been there for about 4.5 minutes. So here, as we get ready to take a look at the choose cone ceremony here, of course, folks, if you don't know, that means that the leader starts and he can pick high or low, and then it just goes back through there, whether you take the inside or the outside lane. And, you know, that depends on what's most comfortable for your car. I mean, you know, some of these drivers, they appreciate being on the outside. Me personally, almost all the time, I would rather be on the outside of the line there when we come back to green. And mostly that's just because if there's somebody faster, I've got a little bit more real estate to get out of the way safely. And a lot of drivers you will see do that. But We're closing in on the century mark here as we are on lap number 99, which means that at lap 100, that century mark. The official dependence from Washington, PA. A little bit off, but still close at the same time. Of course, I grew up just outside of Reading. I was only about 25, almost 30 minutes from Pottsville, so I'm slightly closer than Washington, PA. And of course, looks like he went to Indiana University of Pennsylvania over up yonder, which is just about right there in the middle of the state here in Pennsylvania. But right now, we're more concerned about what's going on in Fort Worth, Texas, as the iRacing.com pace car dives down pit road. Once again, Bobby Blazer on the inside, Mike Wright on the outside. We see the man in the stand with the green flag in his hand. He's waiting, he's waving now. And we are back underway, green flag racing, as this massive field comes back through and gets ready to go into turn one, led by Bobby Blazer. Michael Overstreet working the side of Brandon Minto here in the Get Upside Chevrolet. Looks like Minto going to be holding on to the low side, as those tires still have plenty of grip left in them here on lap number 100 of 188. Matt White following him. You know, there's a lot of side-by-side racing action tonight. Definitely not a slow night for things to look at here on the racetrack, as Alexander Gangler is being challenged by the 38 and 55. And now it looks like John Bawalda going to be chasing down Alexander Gangler, as well as these two drivers, even as Bawalda has some damage there on the rear bumper. Still plenty competitive, even as he's being passed by Matthew Helm in the number 25 Toyota Supra. And we can see plenty going on the racetrack tonight. And folks, if you are watching on the YouTube live chat, we do appreciate you folks being in with us, as many of you have been hanging on since the beginning of this race, and we appreciate you taking some time to be with us tonight here at Texas Motor Speedway. I'll tell you what, if we had to name the sheriff of Texas Motor Speedway, it would definitely be the multi-time champion, Cup Series champion, Jimmy Johnson, as Jimmy Johnson has the most wins at this track with 7 total, the most top 5s with 16, 22 top 10s, and also has the most laps led at 1,152. Of course, the most starts here. I guess you can have a lot of stuff. Whoa, the 36 gets himself in the middle and now shuffles with the 31. Chris Claude going for safety on the high side. The 31, the meat in that sandwich, as the 36, driven by Brad Gunn, gets in front of him. Now the 31 gets a run. I hope that they don't try to do this again, but we're going to keep watching right here on the Independence Racing Network. We see the 36 now running away with that position, which is fine by me, and I'm sure it's also fine by Chris Claude, as those drivers definitely, if we were in a public race, somebody would be screaming safety rating, because nobody wants to wreck out like that. And Bennett Allen here in the 3 car chasing down his brother RP Allen, as Bennett in the 3, RP in the 03 go through the tri-oval and cross the start-finish line in 4th and 5th position here in Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action. Anyway, of course, most starts here at Texas Motor Speedway belong to Kevin Harvick and Kurt Busch, each with 36 starts. But, that's the interesting thing about that particular record, as the longer that you race, look, all you have to do is get in the car and do exactly what the title of the statistic says. Start the race. You can go out there and turn 2 laps, and all of a sudden, you've got yourself another start under your belt. Of course, the best average finish here is Kevin Harvick, and Steve Park has the best average start at 8th position. So, pretty strange. And then Clint Boyer actually won the longest rain delay with 72 hours, as, of course, that had gotten held over for literally 3 days, waiting to get that race in. in NASCAR Xfinity Series history here at Texas Motor Speedway. 2002, April 5th, Jeff Green in his Chevrolet was the fastest qualifier ever at 27.908 seconds, which is an average speed of 193.493 miles per hour. The fastest race finisher was April 5th, 2008 by, you guessed it, Kyle Busch in his Toyota machine, finishing the race in 1 hour, 58 minutes, and 39 seconds with an average speed of 151 miles per hour, which I find so weird because it's a 40-mile-an-hour difference between race trim and qualifying trim. But, of course, I assume that statistic is an aggregate of, total time out there. And the official dependent is saying that Aaron Mack is really hanging on to the outside of the track, and he absolutely is. And we'll take a look back here at the 31 as we can see the Purolator Toyota Supra hanging on just as the official dependent says. Onto the high side as he gets ready to make another pass around John Bawalda III, securing what will eventually be that 16th position for him. However, don't look now, but Chris Claude stalking the rear of John Bawalda III and now the inside of Aaron Mack. So those two Toyotas getting ready to take on the Chevrolet of Bawalda. Mack gets one heck of a run out of turn 2 and is able to pass Bawalda almost like he's standing still at a bus stop. And I'll tell you what, Bawalda can't be pleased with the performance of that car now that he has some damage on it. But unfortunately, to overuse a term, that's racing, folks. And speaking of that's racing, Bennett Allen now getting around RP Allen and Matt White getting ready to enter the dance floor as he is going to begin to challenge for that 4th and 5th position as he gets a run on RP Allen here in the Interstate Batteries 03 Toyota Supra. And RP able to hang on to the outside, but it looks like it's probably going to open the door now as the 56 of Matt White gets on the inside and just lifts him out of the way without even having to come near him. So, obviously, Matt White very skilled in what he's doing out there as far as getting around these other drivers. And Jeff Carson in the Napa Auto Parts number 9 Toyota Supra. Do want to give a tip of the cap to Jeff for securing the sponsorship tonight from his namesake, Napa Auto Parts, as that is his day job employer. And tonight's race winner will earn $125. Second place will earn $50, and third place will earn $25. So quite an exciting purse there for Blazer, Wright, Richie, Allen, Matt White, RP Allen, Brandon Minto, Michael Overstreet, Jeff Carson, or Marty Roberts Jr. as that top 10 charges for lap number 188 here at Texas Motor Speedway. Looking through the rest of the field, it appears that last car on the lead lap, Bob Nestor, in the number 29 Toyota Supra, just trying to keep it nice and clean as he moves down into turn 1. Chris Claude just ahead of him, but not by much, and running fairly slow overall here in the number 10 Dasani Toyota. Of course, Chris is the epitome of being Mr. Consistency. He will absolutely be here toward the end. Although you look at the leaderboard right now, Chris is running 20th position, but the way that this guy drives, he is so consistent. He will hit that same mark time after time after time, that at the end, when everybody else is door handle to door handle and bumping and banging and getting nasty with one another, there's going to be Chris just cruising through. He knows this racetrack. He knows how to get it done. And right now, from 19th position, I would say that he still manages to try to get himself top 15, top 10 before the end of the race. RP Allen, though, here in the 03 Toyota, up 13 positions from where he started. The biggest mover of the night, however, is Matthew Helm, the number 25 Valvoline Toyota Supra. And he is now up 15 positions from where he had started. So he, of course, started second from the rear and now all the way up to 13th position. And taking a look at Brandon Minto here in the number 12 Chevrolet, working just ahead of Jeff Carson. We see Carson here in the number 9 Napa Auto Parts Toyota Supra. I'll tell you what, Carson really did a nice job on this paint scheme. And let's just quick drop in here for a closer look at Jeff Carson. It's not a matte finish. It's not a chrome finish. It's just a perfect balance of in between here. And we'll take a quick spin around this piece, as it just is an absolutely all-around great paint scheme here on the number 9. So tip of the cap to wherever Jeff had this car painted by, if he didn't do it himself, as so many of these drivers, and we talk about it all the time, you know, either paint their own or they know someone who will do it for them. And I just think it's a really great thing, especially when it's really drivers helping drivers. I mean, the iRacing.com community, for folks that aren't aware, is far-reaching. As some of us are here in Pennsylvania, we have drivers all across the world. In fact, one of the commentators over on Sim Racing Media and ESPN is from England. So it's truly an international, experience. And, you get to reach out and pick the brains of so many different people. Where here in real life, if you have that one garage that you've always taken your car to and they tell you, this is the way you do it, you have so many more options. The menu is endless here in the iRacing community for what's going on and who's available to do what. But for all of your broadcasting needs, you can always check out Sim Racing Media, ESPN, or one of the other myriad of broadcast companies such as Performance Motor Network. Of course, PMN does Tuesday Night Thunder Trucks. You can check them out with our good buddy Josh Ward and Brian Britt tomorrow night. And, of course, Sunday night, my good friend and colleague over at Sim Racing Media and ESPN, Joseph Lester, at the microphone on Sunday Night NASCAR's Cup Series in prime time. So always a really good show from any one of us three that call the SNN family of races, and always glad to serve you. And the official Dependa also giving a tip of the cap to Jeff Carson, as I do want to take a look. And I believe hold on, bear with me here, folks. Now, there aren't too, I had talked about this in pre-race with Chris Claude. There are not too many drivers out there who are driving Dasani water. And quite frankly, I mean, I'm always pretty happy with the 40-pack of water that I can get at BJ's or at Walmart for a few bucks. Dasani water, a little highbrow for me, as I'm happy as long as it's, cold and wet and makes me not cough and hack. But, Dasani water, obviously the premier choice of the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series commissioner here. But that is a homemade paint scheme. And correct me if I'm wrong, if Austin Story, if you're still listening in the broadcast, is that a paint scheme that you had done for him, or was that an RJ paint scheme for Chris Claude? Folks, we are going to step to the side and enjoy the sounds of this race, so turn it up here on the Independence Racing Network. Looks like Bennett Allen may have gotten it all wrong, and we're going to take a look and see exactly what might have happened. And hopefully, I mean, he was having a good night so far. We're going to see exactly what happened together here as Bennett Allen in the 3 car. Oh, gets tagged by the 32 of Ian Humphreys. And we see Humphreys rubbing the wall in the tri-oval, coming down and collecting Bennett Allen. Of course, not something that you want to see, especially when you're, there on the lead lap. And Ian Humphreys, a couple of laps down now, makes that mistake, and I'm sure that he feels awful about it. And right now, I'm sure that race radio is lit up like a Christmas tree with activity as Ian Humphreys getting into Bennett Allen. However, here on lap number 131, you start to wonder, is it time? Can I maybe make it all the way on another set of tires? We're going to see if the field is going to come down for pit service, and they do as Bobby Blazer leads the field. Coming down pit road, we see all of these drivers, Brandon Minto, Michael Overstreet, Doug Argabright, Aaron Mack. Matthew Helm is in, Brad Gunn is in. These drivers all coming down for pit service. Bobby Blazer, your race leader, now getting into his pit stall. And the number 98 of Mike Wright just ahead of him as Mike Wright was in that pole position at the beginning of this race. We're going to see who comes off of pit road first here as we're going to get the camera all settled in. And my goodness, that's a tight race, but it looks like Blazer beats him off of pit road. So quite an interesting battle here is Blazer, Wright, Ritchie, Minto, and Carson, your top 5. Of course, Carson here in this Xfinity machine driving the number 9 Napa Auto Parts Toyota Supra. Rounds out your top 5. Glad to see him up there getting it done for the JGR team, of course, headed up by Sunday Night NASCAR Commissioner Chris Clodd. 133 laps complete. Bobby Blazer, your race leader, with Mike Wright close behind. And, I had talked about it before, and maybe I spoke too soon, as Chris Clodd looks like he had gone down a lap. However, stays out and is going to gain that lap back here behind the pace car, as when we go to 1 to go, he will get waved around the pace car and take that free pass. Bobby Blazer just behind him. So Chris Clodd staying out to get the lap back. Strategically a good idea, but maybe practically not a good idea, as he is now going to have to come down at some point for fuel and maybe tires too. We're not really sure, as the last time he had come down was on lap number 126. So he's probably down 2 laps, and he is. So we'll see what happens here as the ending stage of this race unfolds. The official dependent, I'm not trying to correct you too much here, but Nazareth Speedway was actually over toward Lehigh County. I believe that would be Northampton County is where Nazareth Speedway was, so not Westmoreland County. The Nazareth Speedway was actually owned and run by the Andretti family, of course, Nazareth being where the Andrettis call home even today, as Mario does and the rest of the family over there, just outside of Allentown, Pennsylvania, over here on the eastern side of the state. And it is abandoned, as there's not really much going on up there, which is a real shame. And, just in case you folks are looking for something to watch, the Lost Speedway series that Dale Earnhardt Jr. produces over on the Peacock Network, some really good and informative history about some of the racetracks that used to grace this beautiful country of ours. Many of them are now basically abandoned. And here in Texas, there's also another racetrack not too far away from Texas Motor Speedway that has since been abandoned that apparently was a lot of fun to drive at. I'm not sure where that was. I'm going to have to look that up. Of course, being here alone makes it a little hard to do some of my research in the backwards way. But hey, listen, Official Dependa, I'm here to entertain and inform. I'm a wealth of useless information, including the location of Pennsylvania's abandoned Nazareth Speedway. But right now, Bobby Blazer looking to lead the field back to the green flag on lap number 135 of 188 when we cross the start-finish line. They're waiting, they're coming, we're going, we're back to green. Quite a battle here going into turns 1 and 2 as we are side by side for about 3 rows in a row. If that makes any sense to you, let me know. But for about 3 rows in a row, we are side by side, but everybody now finding that real estate that's going to keep them safe as, although it's always a lot of fun to be side by side, man, one person flinches, one sneeze, one itch, and you're in the wall. Of course, that's what ended Bennett Allen's evening there in the 3 car. However, there's still another Allen out here. Or at least there was. Oh, nope, there is not. R.P. Allen and Bennett Allen both in the pits, and R.P. Allen may be on the hauler as, nope, not yet. Interesting. But R.P. Allen may be considering going back on the hauler. We'll see as we get through the rest of this race here. And just took a quick minute here, folks, on lap number 138 to find the abandoned speedway since we were talking about Nazareth Speedway here in Pennsylvania. Texas World Speedway over in College Station, Texas was the racetrack that I was talking about there with the Official Dependa. Whoa! Jack Ritchie challenging for the lead here. Looks to the inside of Bobby Blazer as he decided that he wants to take these fresh tires out for a spin as he is hunting the rear bumper, trying to dive bomb Bobby Blazer, and Bobby Blazer being the almost the sage of racing here atop the pile, knows exactly when to get down. However, he still needs to keep that speed up, so as he swings out to the wall, Jack Ritchie trying to get the run, wedges himself against the white line, gets just under Blazer, slides up, and it's not considered a slide job, but he definitely tightens Blazer up, makes Blazer back out of the throttle, and now takes the lead away from Blazer. And now the hard part is for Jack Ritchie to make his car about 3 wide to keep Bobby Blazer and Mike Wright behind him instead of in front or aside of him, as those are literally the only 2 drivers that you never want to see. Bobby Blazer looking like he's trying to take the air off the rear bumper of Jack Ritchie, makes it look just that easy as he doesn't even get him loose. But you definitely saw the back end of Ritchie's car wobble a tiny bit as we cross the start-finish line yet again on lap number 141. Blazer now backing off just a smidge as he is going to look for his next opportunity to run down the rear bumper of Jack Ritchie. So Texas World Speedway over in College Station, Texas, was originally opened in November 1969 and hosted its last race and was closed in September of 2017. At one time, it had hosted the Texas 500 in 1969, then 1971 and 72. the Alamo 500 from 1972 to 73, and the Budweiser NASCAR 400 from 1979 to 1981. It was 2 miles long and was an asphalt surface, and of course it also featured a 2.9-mile road course with 15 turns in it, so quite a battleground there. And speaking of battles, Bobby Blazer looking on the inside here of Jack Ritchie, re-secures the lead as they are just going at it. Neither of these two drivers willing to let go tonight, and I don't blame them one bit, as there is $125 on the line for the race winner tonight. So right now the difference between first and second is $75. And, you know, it has nothing to do with time. It has nothing to do with this is my buddy. No, you don't mess with a man's money, as it looks like Blazer going to hold the white line now. And let's see if he can try to tighten up the 41 of Jack Ritchie, just like Ritchie did to him on his way by. He's trying to pinch him out there on the outside to take that momentum away and maybe get Ritchie to back out of the throttle. And Ritchie just has a car that is absolutely sticking to the race surface tonight like glue. Manages to hold the lead away from Bobby Blazer. I have to be completely honest with you, folks. Usually the only driver that I'm used to seeing challenge Bobby Blazer is Mike Wright. And right now, Mike Wright able to sit back in third position and just watch these two wear their tires out, burn up those rubbers, and get themselves all tuckered out as we are closing in toward the end of this race here on lap number 145. And yet again, we see Blazer and Ritchie going at it. Blazer has regained the lead away from Jack Ritchie. My goodness. I would say by the end of that, you've got to be dripping in sweat and starting to get a little nervous. So another little history here about Texas World Speedway. Of course, I had mentioned that the first Cup race here was the 1969 Texas 500. That was won by Bobby Isaac and his Dodge. Then in 1971 and 72 for the Texas 500 and the Lone Star 500, Richard Petty won in a Plymouth and a Dodge, respectively. Then Buddy Baker won in a Dodge in 1972. Richard Petty won in a Dodge in 1973. Daryl Waltrip, the first non-Dodge Cup driver to win here at well, not here, but there at Texas World Speedway in 1979 in his Chevrolet. Cale Yarbrough in his Chevrolet did it again in 1980 in the NASCAR 400. And then only one win for the Blue Oval Gang, and that was brought to you by Benny Parsons in the Budweiser NASCAR 400 in 1981 in his Ford. So definitely kind of a Chrysler brand heavy with 4 Dodge wins and a Plymouth win, just 2 Chevrolet wins and a Ford win here or over there at Texas World Speedway. Field Miller and Matt White side by side here on lap number 150. And Field Miller now getting just behind Matt White in the 56. That number 76 Carolina Hurricanes Chevrolet now falling just behind Matt White as he has now opened up about 0.2 of a second between the two. Right now, this one of the closest battles out on the racetrack. Bobby Blazer holding off Jack Ritchie and Mike Wright here atop the pile. That's exciting, but still not as exciting as some of the other racing has been, as Blazer, Ritchie, and Wright have gone single file It looks like Field Miller still angry about losing that position, as Field Miller himself has gained 11 positions so far, and right now just outside of where the top mover in tonight's race is, and that would be Matthew Helm in the number 25 Valvoline Toyota Supra.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know how.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have, breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today, and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air. And folks, welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway as we are on lap number 157 of 188 here. Dave Regal in the Independence Racing Network broadcast booth. Glad to have you in with us tonight. Bobby Blazer, your race leader here in the number 90 Blue Oval Ford, being chased down by Mike Wright. Your points leader in the number 98. Looks like Mike Wright going to be sitting P2 for quite a while here as we get into the closing laps. But Jack Ritchie not satisfied with this in his number 41 Chevrolet. And Jeff Carson in your number 9 Napa Auto Parts Toyota Supra, running in 4th position with Brandon Minto rounding out your top 5. Of course, I talk about Jeff Carson here in the number 9 Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet. Of course, Napa being our sponsor for this evening's race here at Texas Motor Speedway, as your race winner will earn $125. Second position on the podium will get $50, and third place will earn $25 from Napa Auto Parts. So, you know, a lot riding on this race. It's definitely not your average race that we run here in Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series racing. So, you know, the racing itself is a lot different. As many times throughout the season we've seen guys get single file, let's pick off one car at a time, or a lot of times just kind of wait for somebody to wreck out of the way. Where tonight there's $125 on the table, and nobody wants to be the one that misses out by that one position. New in here to the top 10 is Doug Argabright in the number 38 Toyota Supra. And, you know, Doug Argabright has had some pretty tough breaks the last couple of weeks here in Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series racing action. So glad to see him back up in the top 10 as Marty Roberts Jr. in the number 55 Twisted Tea Toyota is now the last car in your top 10. You know, as we look through here, I feel like I say Toyota Supra a lot, and that's not on purpose, but there are just simply more Toyotas than anyone else. Remember, we have 29 cars that took the field tonight. Of those 29 cars, there's only 10 cars, that's just over a third of the field with 29 total being, Chevrolets. And then there are only 3 Fords in the entire field tonight. Bobby Blazer, Mike Wright, and Corey Burkett. So that's 13. That means that there are 16 Toyota Supras out here in the field tonight. So definitely a Toyota heavy league, which, me personally, I could take any of them because with these next-gen cars, they're pretty much the same underneath as they get their parts from the same place. The only thing that's different is the engine underneath, who built it, but it still has to be to NASCAR specifications. And, folks, if you are tuning in here on YouTube.com, make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications, as that does help us get out there and reach more folks, as last night's Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series race had garnered one of the largest iRacing.com audiences in recent history, with over 600 views now to that race last night, featuring some of the drivers here tonight. So, absolute banger of a night for the Cup Series in prime time on Sunday. So hoping, of course, we're not even close to that tonight, but I could always use more viewers. So make sure that you're telling your friends and make sure that they settle in, grab some popcorn, and bring another friend, as we've got some great racing here on lap number 166 of 188. Carson getting wide out here toward the top side of the track with Michael Overstreet on the low side. Of course, Overstreet also having a win this season. He's not locked into the playoffs by any stretch, but I'll tell you what, that definitely helps his case as we march further and further through this season. And speaking of marching, we are getting to lap number 188. And, absolutely glad to be with you here tonight from the Independence Racing Network, of course, here in our Conshohocken, Pennsylvania studios, just outside the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania city limits. And, one of the greatest joys that I have in the broadcast booth is being able to get to know so many of these drivers, as, a lot of them do race 2 and 3 nights a week together. And, one of the things that I've always appreciated is the camaraderie. And speaking of camaraderie, we are going to try to stop on in over here with our good friends down in the Texas Motor Speedway infield, as they should be sitting on top of the Josh Ward camper. Well, it sounds like there's a pretty heavy discussion there, so we don't want to interrupt them. But the official Dependa here still cheering on Aaron Mack, who is now the first car a lap down, running in 14th position, down just one lap, having come in on lap number 159. So we know that he can make it all the way to the end, as we are at 19 laps to go now. Bobby Blazer, your race leader, followed by Mike Wright in second position. Jack Ritchie just behind Mike Wright, but at this point, 3/4 of a second behind the two of them. Then there's A huge difference as Brandon Minto is 5.3 seconds behind everybody else there in that group. Matt Wright running in 5th position, Field Miller in 6th, Michael Overstreet in 7th, Jeff Carson in 8th, Doug Argerbright in 9th, and Brad Gunn in 10th position. So that rounds out your top 10. Here with now 18 laps to go as we are on lap number 171 at Texas Motor Speedway. Tonight's trivia question: who was the first Cup driver to win here at Texas Motor Speedway? I'll give you a hint. It was 1997 when this driver won the first NASCAR Cup race here at Texas Motor Speedway. "14 laps to go now here at Texas Motor Speedway, and at this point we have seen some great racing top to bottom, side to side, everywhere in between here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series at Texas Motor Speedway here on the Independence Racing Network. And folks, I can't believe, if you haven't already, and yes, the official Dependa, it was... No, oh no, I'm sorry, the official Dependa, that was wrong, as a matter of fact. Not Dale Jarrett. Sorry, try again. But if you are just joining us on YouTube, where have you been all night? I mean, right now, things just starting to get exciting behind the leaders who have now gotten themselves spread out and single file. And right now, Bob Nestor down about 4 laps. Just trying to keep it together. Jeff Carson, of course, here in the Napa Auto Parts number 9 Toyota Supra, coming out of turn 2 down the backstretch one more time, keeping a good healthy bit of distance between himself and his competitors as we move deeper and deeper into this race. At this point, we are so fast the point of no return that there's not even a point of not trying to finish the race for some of these drivers. I'm guessing by a quick glance over at our YouTube statistics that at least here on the East Coast, where it's currently a little after 11 p.m., many folks getting ready to go to bed. And I got to be honest with you, I don't blame you. You know, it's late. Tomorrow's Tuesday. You got to get up. You got to go to work. So, you know, I understand if you don't want to hang out with me tonight. And tomorrow night, it's not much better because we don't even go on the air with ESPN until 10:15 tomorrow night. However, if you do like hanging out with me here on a Monday night, you can always come out and hang out with my partner in crime, Tony Trapasso, over on ESPN. We're now down to single digits as we are at 9 laps to go here at Texas Motor Speedway. So not too much more, just about 15 miles, as these cars are going to be turning those laps 8 more times, as we are now at that point where, there's no reason, even if you wind up with damage on your car, you might as well finish the race out, because with 8 laps to go, you've invested all this time. Get her done. Brendan Honeycutt, glad that you are still hanging with us here in the broadcast booth, as sometimes these races can get a little long-winded, including your broadcaster. Of course, tonight's scheduled distance was originally 167 laps, and somehow it became 188 laps. Not sure how that happened, but it gives us a little bit more time to get to know each other and hang out. One of the interesting things that I see is Donnie Gatton was last year's Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series winner here in the spring at Texas. And Donnie Gatton, of course, no longer running with the league. Several drivers have moved on, and Donnie Gatton, one of those drivers who was really good at the craft. Of course, you don't want to get bored. You don't want to get stagnant. So he had to move on to basically bigger and better things. And you know what? I could never fault a person for, choosing to do it right. And if you're better than something, and if there's an available place to go where, of course, you can grow more, go for it. There's absolutely no reason, especially when there's, the kind of groupings and leagues that are available on the iRacing.com servers that allow you that kind of growth. And folks at home that don't know what I'm talking about, iRacing.com is a community with many different leagues. And what you're looking at here on the Independence Racing Network is the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series League. And yes, sir, it was Jeff Burton, the official dependent, gets our trivia question tonight. Not that that matters, but I believe that in 1997, that would be the number 99 Exide car that he had won the first race here at Texas Motor Speedway. Overstreet gets sideways coming through the tri-oval, manages to keep it together. But with 3 laps to go, my goodness, he just can't stop bumping into people. Let's take a look and see exactly what happened here. Just as we were starting to cycle cars through, we see Overstreet coming through turn 3, transitioning into 4. He comes down behind the 76, takes the air off the rear of the 76. The 76 gets loose into the outside wall. Overstreet overcorrects. See what I did there, folks? And winds up collecting so many people. And, I did see that Jeff Carson had gotten into the wall. I hope that he's okay. As we are now at 3 laps to go, so that will put us into NASCAR Overtime.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know how.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have, breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air. Fans, welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway, where we are about to have the most exciting finish of the night, where we are now going to be in NASCAR Overtime with Bobby Blazer sitting atop the pile. Of course, you saw several of those lead lap cars who still had tires left coming in on lap number 187, as it looks like Bobby Blazer, Jack Ritchie, Mike Wright, Matt White, Field Miller, Brandon Minto, Doug Argabright, Jeff Carson, Michael Overstreet, Matthew Helm, and Brad Gunn all came down for pit service. So that top 11, all fresh tires. And you'd almost have to wonder if anybody decided not to take fuel and keep that car light, or at least maybe take just a splash of fuel, because, of course, a lighter car, maybe you can go a little bit faster, which, also makes the car a little bit more of a handful to drive around with. Now, folks, if you're not familiar, the way that NASCAR Overtime works, what's going to happen is the flag stand man will wave that green flag. We're going to race around and try to get to the white flag. We should, by the way, not completely unrelated, we should be seeing Bob Nestor and a couple other lapped cars. It's like the 55 and the 31 of Aaron Mack, coming around and taking that wave around, as they did not come down pit road for service, while all the other lead lap cars did. Anyway, if something should happen, a wreck of some persuasion between the waving of the green flag and the waving of the white flag, we will freeze the field and do this all over again in overtime. If we race around from the green flag and the white flag waves, then the next flag will end the race. So whether it's yellow or checkered, that will absolutely end the race. So here we are in NASCAR Overtime. Bob Nestor getting caught back up to the field here, as we see him still 3 laps down. Looks like he'd be searching more for 3 incidents to happen between the green and the white flag. But let's just see if we can get this done in one attempt here. These drivers getting anxious. Bobby Blazer takes off. We are back green flag racing here in NASCAR Overtime. The flag stand waver almost rips his arm off trying to get the field going. Mike Wright and Jack Ritchie now duking it out here for second and third position. $25 or $50 on the line. Of course, the difference between first and third place is not a matter of seconds, but a matter of dollars, as it now looks like Matt White is trying to secure that spot away. And the caution comes out. as Field Miller and Brad Gunn have gotten into it. And we see here from Field Miller in the middle of your screen exactly what happened here. It looks like the 38 just comes up and maybe a touch of net code, as they didn't actually make contact. But my, oh my, we see the 38 coming up. So they didn't actually make contact, but obviously net code there trying to protect iRacing's integrity. As obviously the 38 would have been the cause anyway, even without netcode. So we're on attempt number 2 at NASCAR Overtime here at Texas Motor Speedway in the Lone Star State, of course, the former Republic of Texas. With Bobby Blazer atop the pile, Mike Wright running in P2, Matt White running in P3, Jack Ritchie, Michael Overstreet rounding out your top 5 with Brandon Minto, John Bawalda III, Matthew Helm, Aaron Mack, Brad Gunn rounding out your top 10. As we see, we're going to have yet another lap of caution here at Texas Motor Speedway. These drivers all stacked up 2 by 2 through the field. Thank you for joining us here on the Independence Racing Network. I'm Dave Regal here at the microphone. This has turned into quite a long one tonight, folks, as we are now on lap number 195 in NASCAR Overtime. So, again, this is our second attempt at completing the race under overtime rules for NASCAR. And Bobby Blazer still your race leader with Mike Wright on his outside. Michael Overstreet, Matt White, and Brandon Minto round out your top 5. Minto in the number 12 car right there in just about right middle of your screen. And the pace car dives down. Overtime getting ready. The field's waiting. They're hanging on. Everybody starts to breathe a little deep, and they take one big sharp breath, and away we go. Blazer takes out like a shot out of a gun, but Michael Overstreet says, I want to hit my payday. Overstreet manages to get around Mike Wright, who has been so strong in that position all night long. I have to believe that Mike Wright going to make the pass now under Overstreet as the 56 and the 12 are coming real close to one another. Bobby Blazer getting ready. 3, 2, 1. Crosses the start-finish line, and the white flag is in the air. So now the next flag is going to end this race, no matter what it happens to be. The 12 car beating the brakes off of the 39 and wedging him out of the way. The 39 not going to be put to bed easily tonight, but that opens the door for the 56. The 39 is loose. The 41 manages to work his way down along the inside. This is turning into quite a battle. The 39 is sideways. The 39 gets turned sideways. There is pandemonium here as we get ready to cross the start-finish line. The checkered flag is in the air. Bobby Blazer, your race winner, edges out Mike Wright here at the last second, and a surprise third-place finisher is Matt White in the number 56 Toyota Supra, sponsored by JSS and JCB. My goodness, let's just take a look here and see exactly what might have happened. We can see the 39 of Michael Overstreet here on the high side, ahead of above Brandon Minto, gets loose on Brandon Minto's right rear. Then the 41 drifts up into the 39 and just sends him a spinning. And by that point, race was checkered flag anyway, and Michael Overstreet loses that attempt there that he had made to get on the podium, and of course, one of those big rewards tonight. So we obviously need to be talking to Bobby Blazer at some point here, but we are going to start from our third position winner tonight. Matt White, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother? Sorry about that, Matt White. You got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4, Dave. How you doing tonight?
Hey, man. Listen, sorry about that. Forgot to unmute the Discord channel. Listen, heck of a run here toward the end of this race. I mean, what were you doing? Just turning on the rocket boosters or waiting for everybody to spin out in front of you?
It was kind of a bit of both there. I dropped in a tighter car and got some damage, so I had to go to the back. And I mean, I just, like I said, to the first 10 guys is full on rocket, and then after that, it was just biding my time. I was kind of hoping that the guys up there would overdrive it, which they did on that final restart. So that was really a way to take it there and get that top 3.
Absolutely. Of course, tonight's top 3 comes with a little bit more of a reward than just bragging rights, as you are the proud winner of now $25 from Napa Auto Parts. Of course, a deal that was brokered by, oh my gosh, I just completely blanked on his name and I'm staring at it. Jeff Carson of the number 9 Napa Auto Parts Toyota Supra. So you get yourself a little bit of gas money. Of course, $25 doesn't get you much in gas anymore, but
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It was a fun race. I really didn't. And both the All-Star and tonight, I didn't really care about the money. It just changes the way people race. So I'm happy for it. I think that Jeff was able to get that money put up for everybody. So it gives a little bit extra for this All-Star week. I appreciate that from him.
absolutely. And listen, man, before we cut you loose, is there anybody that you'd like to tip your cap to?
I just want to thank the Charge Racing guys back at the shop. They do a really good job every week to put the cars in good position, to give me a car I can drive. Want to thank JCB out of Grand Meadow once again, Rapid Fire Pizza, and obviously I want to thank everybody here at the SNN, MNN, and TNN for putting on these races every week. Without them, we couldn't really do this.
Absolutely, man. Well, listen, you go enjoy that $25. Maybe go get yourself a pizza and enjoy the podium finish.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Dave. Have a good night.
That was our third place finisher, Matt White. Now we're going from Matt White to Mike Wright. This is like the most confusing transition for a broadcaster to change words like that. My goodness. But we go from the pride of Minnesota to, of course, Greensboro, North Carolina's own Mike Wright, the driver of the number 98 Blue Oval Ford. Mike Wright, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you. How's it going?
Every day's a new adventure here in the Independence Racing Network. And, I'll tell you what, you were holding on there for dear life early on for that lead and wind up P2 tonight. How do you feel?
I feel like we could have got that win. Being out front for a long period of time at the beginning of the race, it's hard to tell what type of changes you might need to make. And I was trying to save some tires on that one run, and Bobby got in front of me, and I made some changes based off how it was driving there. And in the long run there, it just didn't come to me, and so just the right rear was gone, and I just never made it back up. But then we got the caution, and I thought we had another chance, and it seemed like on both green white checkers there I had a pretty good run coming around, and I got to him on that last one, and I didn't want to hit the bumper. I wanted to try to see if I could get it without it, and just came up about a nose short there at the finish line.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you definitely were duking it out here at the end. And I mean, I was really expecting, Michael Overstreet, who was giving you a run for the money there in P2, I was expecting you guys to be tangling. I didn't expect to see him tangle the way that he did further back in the field. So, I'm glad that you were able to finish clean up there at the front of this piece alongside Bobby Blazer, where, you guys are going at it hammer and tongs on the racetrack every week. And, of course, in the point standings, as, we started tonight, Blazer was only 52 points behind you. I'm sure that he didn't pass you tonight, but he definitely is going to be narrowing that gap a little bit now with this additional win that he's going to put in his cap. So, next week, of course, we're off, but for Memorial Day. But the following week, that means get your torch and pitchfork out and go after him.
Yeah, we're running competitive each week together, and it's a lot of fun. And I feel like I kind of reversed the script today from what I was doing to him, where I kind of would follow him for most of the race and then find a little something extra, maybe learning a little bit about what his car was doing just by following him. So he got a little bit of that chance today, and made some changes and adjusted some things that paid off for him. So well done by him, and we'll keep it rolling and keep it clean. The only hitting we want to do is a little bit of celebration at the end of the race.
Absolutely, man. And tonight you get to celebrate $50 richer, as Napa Auto Parts was able to make a contribution to the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series here on the Independence Racing Network. So thanks to Jeff Carson securing that deal. Looks like
Absolutely.
You'll get an extra $50 there. So before we cut you loose, anybody that you'd like to tip your cap to at the end of this piece?
Obviously racing with Bobby again, a lot of fun. Jack and I running there, bouncing some cues about how everybody was running around us as far as saving tires, things like that while we went. Brandon had a pretty good run as well. So, and then we had a newcomer here with Field. He did pretty well too. He got caught up there a little bit. So, Team Ferda rolling along again, running well. So hopefully we can show up tomorrow in the truck race and do a little bit more.
Absolutely, man. All right. Well, thank you. We appreciate you. Congratulations on that P2 podium finish, and congratulations on that $50 winning there.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and we appreciate him. And, of course, now the man, the myth, the legend, the pride of York, Pennsylvania, one Bobby Blazer, driver of the number 90 Blue Oval Ford, gets himself to the top of this piece tonight, $125 richer. Bobby Blazer, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. Do you got a copy, sir?
Yes, sir.
Man, what a win. I mean, you were up there all night long with the torch and pitchfork just cutting down. I mean, how do you, where do you even want to start? How did you get up there?
Oh my God. So I told y'all last week, Kansas and Texas are my two worst tracks on this whole service. I don't know what Kansas did for me. I don't know how. I don't know. Just I guess you run 50 laps in a row, you kind of figure things out. But I run the open races as well, so I don't know. And I literally sent a message to Mike and his team, like, good luck, and I'm gonna let him have this one because I swear I didn't have any idea I had any sort of speed. So I was disappointed that caution came out there with 2 or 3 laps to go because I had such a massive lead. And I was genuinely like, I don't know how I'm gonna hold these guys off because it's just aggressive racing and stuff. But every week I get to interview with y'all. I think the same people, but I'm telling y'all, like, Mike Wright's different. I appreciate the way he races me. I took 3 and 4 so easy. I was like, there's no way like I'm gonna spin out because the car is so loose to set up I have in it. And that dude raced me so clean to the line. Like, he definitely could have been like the biggest savage, and he doesn't. So I appreciate that so much, and I just appreciate everybody racing so clean with what's on the line. So.
I mean, yeah, here's the thing. This league here, the Xfinity division, I mean, I've seen some of the cleanest racing. I mean, and I get to call a lot of different leagues, in what I do with Sim Racing Media and ESPN. And the Xfinity series here is right up there. All of you guys down there on the track are always so clean because, if you're not going to race each other clean, that takes some of the competitive nature away from this. So to see the way that you and Mike exchange positions, you do it clean, you do it highly skilled. I mean, some of the things that you do, I'd be down there spun out, like a clown, and you and Mike just go at it like a class act. It really is a class act. And of course, tonight, not only are you $125 richer, but also you get to close that gap between yourself and Mike Wright atop the point standings on the season. So I'm not sure how that's going to shake out. Once the computer nerds do all their calculations, we'll see exactly how much that gap is shrunk down. But man, listen, heck of a run. And before we let you go, is there anybody else that you'd like to tip your cap to?
Well, I'd like to thank my team, EE Sports, General Inspect Designs, for this really nice paint scheme. I want to thank everybody in the league. You guys, obviously you included, but Chris and Rob, they put a lot of work into this. I realize sometimes things aren't perfect in terms of lap settings and all that stuff, but they got a lot on their plate. They are just now starting to reap the rewards of, when this is going to come off as super, I don't know, condescending or pretentious, but like, they get to have good racing, and people like Mike, myself, Ferda, Cyclone, the rest of EE Sports, like, we put on good races, and I really, at the end of the day, I feel like that's what you start a league for, is to see good racing. And you're getting sponsors, which I very much am so happy to see. I was worried, to be honest with you, Dave. I was really worried that you start putting money up every week that is like a real number. It gets kind of crazy, but after tonight, like this, you're not getting much cleaner racing than this. I appreciate everything you do. It's every Monday night you're in here watching these races, so I'm glad that it's decent shows that you get to watch. appreciate everybody that tunes in and watches each week or watches the replays. I'm a huge racing fan in real life. I don't know if you could have guessed that or not from me sim racing, but man, I don't need every race in real life to be a barn burner, but I do like a little bit of excitement. There's a lot of talk of, oh, should the All-Star race move? What should the All-Star race be? Dave, to be honest with you, they should run this race on Thanksgiving because it's such a damn parade. It's disappointing that you pass somebody and that's the win. Like, pulling away 2 seconds is not that exciting. Whether I won or not, that's not, you know what I'm saying? You got to race people kind of like jerks and stuff to kind of get there, but it is what it is. Like I said, I'm so appreciative for everything the league does, everything that my team does, everything that you do. What Napa?
Yep.
I think the sponsor tonight and tomorrow, so that's pretty cool. I don't know if it's like a franchise or like the actual main company, but either way, that's super cool, and I appreciate everything that does, that they have done and do. So I just appreciate everybody for the clean racing most part, So that's all, man. Appreciate you, Dave.
Listen, Bobby, every week we get to talk, it seems, because you're always up there on the podium. So, I'm just glad that we can basically get caught up every week because, number one, you're representing Pennsylvania for me. I mean, it's kind of weird that in this league we have so many Pennsylvanians. I mean, yourself, me, Bob Nestor, of course, Ken Ron, who is usually on a Sunday night. It's just a weird kind of, I don't know how we all gravitated here, but we did. So I'm glad that you're the one leading the pack and, every week to see what you and whoever else is up front, because really you're up front every week, so it's always neat to see the way that things morph and develop and, it's not condescending what you were saying. I know that you were afraid of sounding that way, but you get to watch something develop. I mean, this is my second full year in the Xfinity series. Last year I was a driver. This year I'm here as a broadcaster. And I got to be honest, watching the evolution of this league is the most exciting thing that I get to do all week long. I get to call some of the coolest leagues on the iRacing.com servers. Like tomorrow night I do Western States Racing League. And, usually the top 4 drivers in that league have an I rating of 35 to 5,000. 3,500 to 5,000. And I think I could easily put any one of you guys in the top 3 tonight in with them, and you'd be just as competitive. So that's a kudos to you for, keeping that competitive edge up there. So, Bobby Blazer, want to thank you, sir.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the kind words, and shout out Pennsylvania. Would you rather have me or Dr. Oz representing you? So,
I mean, well, here's the thing. I did vote for Dr. Oz, not going to lie. So,
well, everybody likes certain things. So I appreciate everything the league does.
Gotcha,
I appreciate your kind words. Thank you again, Napa. Thank you again, Mike, for not absolutely killing me that last corner. Like I said, we have off next week. Thank you, all veterans, everybody that served, everybody that has sacrificed. I appreciate that so much. So we're gonna run that race in June, but I think Missouri. I don't know what they call the track now. I think that's what's up next, and I'm so excited for that, man. That's like my wheelhouse. When you start getting a mile and a half, I'm not that good. So hopefully the short tracks I get back into my mint condition. But like I said, I appreciate everything you do. I'm so glad we have such a good broadcaster like you to really put on a good show. I rewatch the races each week, and you do such a good job. So I appreciate everything you do, and I appreciate everything everybody else does as well in this league.
All right, man. Listen, I appreciate your kind words. And Bobby Blazer, we are going to cut you loose. And, I got to say, folks, this one here in the books for the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Almost had a complete slip there and almost said the wrong league. But, the thing is, these drivers week in and week out are out here to put the best show on that, in my opinion, you see on the asphalt here. I mean, from stem to stern, this race was professional. And as Bobby mentioned, and I had also mentioned a little earlier in the broadcast, next week we are off. And however, we do want to point out that June 6th we will be at Portland for 75 laps. Then June 13th, at the Charlotte Oval for 200 laps. Of course, that will be a 300-mile race at that particular track. And then Homestead on June 20th for 167 laps, and Nashville Superspeedway on June 27th for 188 laps. All of those times, of course, at 9 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube.com on the Independence Racing Network. And before we get out of here, we do want to take a look at these final results of the race tonight. Of course, led by Bobby Blazer here atop the leaderboard in the number 90 Blue Oval Ford. Edging out Mike Wright in the number 98, Matt White in third, Brandon Minto and John Bawalda round out your top 5. Matthew Helm, Marty Roberts, Aaron Mack, Jack Ritchie, and Doug Argabright with one of his best finishes of the season round out your top 10. Brad Gunn, Michael Overstreet, Field Miller, Bob Nestor, Chris Claude, Jeff Carson, Corey Burkett, Alexander Gangler, Jackson Derby, R.P. Allen round out the top 20. Then finishing out the field, Bennett Allen, Ian Humphreys, Zach Osborne, Zachary Vaughn, Grant Thompson, who was scored in the number 35 Toyota Supra, but actually in the number 14 tonight, finishes 25th. Carlos Ramos in 26th. Steve Vrooman, which, in my opinion, best name in all of sim racing, Vrooman. Eugenio Alonso in the number 86 Chevrolet finishes 28th. And Emily Urias in the number 6 with only 10 laps completed rounds out the field in 29th position. Of course, Emily, one of my co-workers over at Sim Racing Media, one heck of an up-and-coming broadcaster, and I invite you guys to check us out over there at Sim Racing Media almost every night of the week, as we've got 6 nights of broadcast tonight. Of course, here, the Independence Racing Network. If you like hanging out with me on a Monday, you'll definitely like hanging out with me and my partner in crime, Tony Trapasso, on a Tuesday at 10:15 Eastern Time, calling the Western States Racing League. And, of course, tomorrow night also the Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series over on the Performance Motor Network, broadcasting many of these same drivers that were here tonight. Now, of course, over at in the Truck Series on Tuesday nights on the Performance Motor Network. So, for everyone at Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series Racing, Commissioner Bob Nestor and myself, Dave Regal, here at the microphone, and the Independence Racing Network, proudly brought to you by Buck Kicker, RS Button Boxes, Napa Auto Parts tonight, and of course proudly presented by Northeastern Fire and Air. Thank you for joining us for all of these laps that we have laid down tonight, all 198 of them. And folks, tomorrow as you go through the day, grab onto one moment and enjoy it. Thank you, everybody.